I told you I was coming on live. Told you I was coming on live. Hello, hello, hello. I'm just giving people time to come in. As you see, I'm not at home. I'm not in the usual setting. But I am here with a special guest as promised. You put me over in the corner where the ladybugs are. It's ladybugs in this room, you all. Hey, it's ladybugs in this room. This is not my normal setup, so we're going to see. We have a special guest here, and I wonder if I could set this up. I'm just giving people time to log in because they have to get the notifications. Somebody gave it a thumbs up on Facebook. And I guess what we want to do is just make sure somebody's just booked an appointment too.
Okay, look at you.
I got to look. I got to go to the eye doctor. Giving people time to log in. Giving people time to log in. In the meantime, I'm setting up. This thing is not tight. You know I don't have a good grip. Can you tighten that? Hello, we're just setting up.
This is tight. I can't. It goes to the right.
I think so. Giving people time to log in.
Is it tight now?
Maybe we should set it up right here. You think? Girl, I don't know. I think this is more so for handheld. But can you hear us okay? See, it just popped up. Watch it. I'm sorry, you all. I think that'll be better. Just let me know if you can hear me okay. I guess we'll come up a little bit. Now I have to come over a little bit. We got 8 people in the room. It'll get even. Make sure no ladybugs land on us and try to kill us. You can hear? You said yes, we can hear you. Okay. Okay, we got 7 people in the room. We're here live. We're on Hey Minding Lines. Hey Marlene. Hi. We're here live on Facebook, YouTube, 2 Facebook pages and YouTube. And as promised, this is the person I'm always talking about. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. Portian. And this is the person I always talk about, and I say I trust my life with her. I trust, like, I'll give her all my information. I trust her with my life. This girl is the bomb. I met her, and I was just telling my friend yesterday, I said, you know, the whole time I lived in Atlanta, I didn't really make any real friends. I said I only met one person who I would consider to be my friend, and that's you. I'm so serious. Like, everyone else, I was like, it was just a hot mess. So, and let me tell you how we met. Me running around, scrambling, trying to figure out what to do with my life at that point. I'm like, oh, I'll take this tax class. And I took the tax class, and she knew everything, and she gave out good information. She knows her stuff forward and backwards, but it just wasn't for me, you guys. Like, I took the test, and I got like a 72, and it wasn't my thing, was it?
You could have stuck with it. You tapped out. You tapped out on it.
I tapped out. I'm like, this is not for me. This is not for me. But we just remained friends, and I started telling her what I was doing with my online business. I had a product called Face Putty at the time, and this young lady, I'm telling you, like, she stepped in because she said she liked what I was doing. She built my entire website for me.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did not forget. And this, I'm telling you, this is gonna make me cry. She built my entire website for me, and she would not even accept any money from me. I think the whole entire time you helped me, I was able to give you $75. I think, and she might not have accepted that. I don't know. But she would not accept a dime. And even when my website would go down, like the few times, she would stop what she was doing to help me. And since then, that has grown into Shecago Beauty Source. Yeah. But this was one of the people who stepped in and believed what I was doing. And at the time, I got to brag on her too before we start to get into it. I'm giving people time to log in. At this time, you had 4 locations. This is a super entrepreneur right here, okay? My girl had 4 locations.
I think we had 4 at the time.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think that following it we added 2 more, but it was 4.
Yeah.
4 spots at the time.
She got up to 6 locations at one point, her and her business partner. And so she's like super, super tax woman. She also became the national trainer for that particular chain. I don't know if you want me to say the name. So, okay, she became the national trainer for that chain. She's the person that hops on a plane and she goes to the tax conferences. She's the person who, you know, is she's the fixer. So she's like the Olivia Pope for, you are. She's like the Olivia Pope for the tax world. When businesses are failing, they're about to shut their doors, they put her on a plane. And she goes in, she cleans up and figures out what needs to be done. She'll say, you need to fire these employees. You need to hire new people. She sells it like it is. She's like me, but just in the tax world. And this is who I trust with my business. I trust her with everything. And she's like, if God sent me to Atlanta for 5 years for nothing else, it was to meet this wonderful woman right here. I'm telling you. So I'm just saying all of that just to start. And I'm just reading the comments. She said, Rudolph said that's a real sisterhood. And I've been knowing Rudolph since I was in 4th grade or something like that. He get on my damn nerves. Hey, Rudolph. Okay, so I was just giving people time to log in because I promised that we were going to talk about this. I look so fat in this video, but I've been down here partying and drinking and stuff. I'm not gonna lie. And yes, I have my tattoo worked on. That's why I'm bandaged up. Dakara.
Yes.
What is it with people, like people in the beauty industry who do hair, who do nails, makeup? A lot of us are flying under the radar with what we do. So why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. Of course, all of us want to make money, especially cash money, and not have to report it, basically.
But you know, what's wrong with reporting the income?
I think people have a negative connotation with reporting it, or with being identified as a full-blown independent contractor, sole proprietor, or just business in general. The IRS doesn't discriminate about how they look at income, whether it's legal or illegal. You're required, even if revenue is illegal, to report it on a tax return. Of course, you're not prosecuted for it, but I'll give you an example because people are always like, what? You sure you can report illegal income? You absolutely can. On the
Wait, girl. What did you just say? You can report illegal income.
You're supposed to report all income that's earned, and that should include any illegal income. The best example I give people of that is how on the federal level, the sale of marijuana is not legal, but in several states it is. Those people who generate income in Colorado and Cali from sales still have to report and are taxed on that federal income on their tax return.
I'm just looking at these comments to see if there are any. If you have any questions,
yeah, please hop in and ask questions.
Ask questions because you want her. I'm telling you, normally she would charge you for a consultation, okay? Okay, so you're saying that, and here's the thing. I think that a lot of people, when you start collecting cash, you're making cash hand over fist. You're getting Square payments, Cash App payments, and all of that. At the end of the year, they don't want to tell the IRS because they know they'll owe money. But here's the thing. Do you really... And this is just me talking, okay? We didn't pre-rehearse this or anything. My thing is, if you're not doing anything major that year, there are a lot of deductions that we can take, right? A lot.
Well,
or no?
No, there are plenty of deductions. So just to point this basic fact out, the Internal Revenue Service is basically a collection agency. They collect tax on revenue from individual businesses, corporation, foreign entities, etc. Okay, they're in the business of collecting taxes on revenue generated. Bottom line, okay, no matter what that source of revenue is. The thing that most people don't know is that the tax code is set up to benefit sole proprietors, business owners, corporations. Okay, it's not really set up to benefit a high earning wage earner that gets a W-2. the majority of the deductions and loopholes that are in the code are for people who work for themselves with a partner within the threshold of having a business. The problem is we are unaware of the deductions and the loopholes that we legally can take to keep the majority of your money, but have a lot of things tax deductible just because of you being defined as a business owner.
Okay, so let's break this down a little bit further, because some people they and I'm gonna tell you I'm guilty of this. When I hear this type of talk, I kind of zone out a little bit because it's a little bit over my head, right? Okay. So I'm gonna say this: home-based. A lot of us are home-based businesses, right? Tell them something that most people don't know about home-based business. I heard something about a certain percentage or something that you can utilize, or whatever.
Right. So as a home-based business, if you have a designated area where you either see clients, speak to clients, make business transactions, schedule appointments, you can deduct expenses for a home office. Okay. Now you have to be specifically using it for that business and doing business transactions. If you're commingling, like if your den is where your family gathers, your office is where you eat and where you entertain, it's not going to be in the IRS definition defined as a home office. But if you have a separate space and it goes by square footage, depending on the size of the area, in comparison to the whole size of the home or apartment, because you don't have to have be a homeowner. It can be an apartment space that you live in.
Okay. Wait, did you all hear what she said? Did you all hear what she said? Because it does not have to be what? Say that again.
Does not have to be a home. You don't have to have a mortgage. Whatever space you live in, but you also work from, you can use that to define your business office that you run from home.
People keep arguing about that sort of thing, like you can't have a home-based business, and I think that people are mixing up the two. And I'm just going to step over here, because you all, if you know me and you watch my channel, keep talking to the car, but okay. If you know me and you watch my channel, you know that those two are two separate things in terms of what the IRS wants from you and needs from you versus where you live, and if you can claim a home-based business. Some people say you can't have a home-based business, and I'm like, it depends on where you live. Some places say you need to have a separate entrance, but for the most part, I say you think about people who do taxes.
Yeah.
You think about people who are seamstress and different things. There are so many different home-based businesses.
Well, COVID released a lot of home-based businesses, not by choice, but by default, because people were unable to be out and about. So it had to be transferred to being basically home-based, even if you're working for a big corporation.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could claim all sorts of things, right?
Yeah. So here's the little nuance of it, because it's people give out broad information, and taxes are very specific to your individual situation. But the basis of it is you determine a percentage. That percentage is going to be calculated by taking the square footage of your actual home office divided by the total square footage of your entire space, whether that be your home or your apartment.
So my apartment is 1,000 square feet.
Mm-hmm. And what space is allocated specifically for your home-based business?
So let's just say one of the rooms is 10 by 12.
Okay, so 120 square feet.
But do you count the bathroom and the restroom, because you use those areas, as well? You don't?
No, because those are inclusive of your entire home that you otherwise use in the first place.
Okay.
And that's what I mean about making sure that the space you use is exclusively used for your business. That's one of the rules that the IRS attaches to the home office, that it be exclusively used for your business. Your bathroom is not exclusively used for your business per se, because you use it in general, or your family uses it in general.
What if you have 2 bathrooms in your apartment?
Okay. you're stretching it. I'm just gonna give you the basis.
I will always.
We're not gonna stretch it out. We can push up to a line. Remember, I'm gonna say this more than once. Everything is very individual with taxes. So Tanisha may be able to do something with her home office or deductions that someone else may not be able to do. So that's why it's important to have information or a professional that knows the details and the fine line that you can walk to ensure that you're not caught up in any kind of audit or questioning of a deduction. All right, so one thing I want to put out there, because a lot of people, I hear this all the time. Okay. You can write off your rent. You can write off with your utilities. You can write off your mortgage. Well, not the whole darn thing. No. The whole point of it is to take the percentage of it that you use for your business and deduct it. So if 20% of your home is used for your home-based business, then 20% of your utilities and the upkeep of your home is going to be able to be deducted.
Okay, so let's stop this right here.
Okay.
So let's just say you made, I'm using this figure just to make things simpler. You made $100,000. And let's just say that's like an amount you're afraid to claim. But if you want to go out and you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, whatever, you need to show some income. You need some type of paperwork as an entrepreneur to say, I'm making this type of money, right? And so a lot of people are afraid because they know if they made $100,000, then, you know, they're going to owe taxes on, let's say, $60,000, right? Something like that.
Well, are you saying their net income as a self-employed or business is going to be $100,000? Okay. So
I'm just throwing out figures. So if it's $60,000 at the bottom line of everything, a lot of people don't want to pay the taxes on that $60,000. But here's the thing that I'm going to tell you, as a business owner, you got to be sure you really want to be an entrepreneur, because the real deal is if you were working a job and you made $100,000 a year, a lot of people like to brag and say, I make $100,000 a year, whatever. But they're not seeing that entire $100,000. But as entrepreneurs, a lot of us get in this really greedy mindset where we forget that we have to pay it. And we have to be disciplined enough to pay it just like everyone else is paying it. We just have to do it ourselves versus the job taking it out for us, okay? But here's the other part that people forget and are afraid of, and I want you to really put people at ease with this, because this is something I struggle with. Just because you may owe the IRS $13,000, $12,000 or whatever.
Okay.
Is that a fair number? On $60,000, $70,000? I don't know.
On $60,000 worth of self-employed income?
A self-employed income, $60,000 net income.
No, it's going to be more than that.
Okay. I don't know. This is why I told you I dropped out the class. But there's a such thing as a payment plan, and I want people to I want you to kind of tell people how I'm afraid of the IRS. But she will tell you how the IRS thinks and works with you, and when you're in trouble and when you're not in trouble. That's what I want to
So let's just back up one step from that. As a responsible, money-making business owner, sole proprietor, solopreneur, hustler, whatever you want to call it, part of the expense of doing business is taxes.
Message.
The reason you owe taxes is because you generate the income. Okay? What you want to do is minimize the tax that you owe. Not the revenue or income that you make. All right? So that's when having someone who knows the deductions, knowing how to allocate income is important. One thing that people don't take advantage of, that's a big part of the strategy that I point out, and I'm giving you guys this, and I charge a lot of money to go through this with people individually. You can make $100,000, but how about you put maybe a quarter of that into a retirement plan? What that automatically does is it directly reduces that $100,000 by $25,000. You still have your $25,000, but it's in a retirement account that's interest bearing, that hopefully is going to be growing All right. So you defer that income out while it's still growing, but you're only taxed on a lesser amount of income. All right.
So can I ask you this question?
Sure.
And I may be wrong. So are you saying that the tax liability, some of it you can take that? Like for me, I invest in the stock market every day. It's a problem, man. It's like people have a shoe shopping problem. I have a stock buying problem. So I can take that income and buy stocks, and as long as I'm letting that money sit there.
No, that's different.
Okay, I was just
they're
wondering.
They're defined retirement plans, 401ks, IRAs, 403bs if you work for a government entity. Let's say you have a job, or if you're self-employed, there are certain tax shelters that you can set up just because you're self-employed. All right. What can happen also is you can call, or you can do what I call the double dip. If you are the employer and the employee, so you're the business owner and you work in your business, you can double dip. You can put twice as much money in a retirement account. As an employee, you cannot do that.
You see what I'm saying? Like, this is a channel for nail techs and people in the beauty industry, but are we really spending time trying to learn how to build a business around it? Because a lot of people don't step over to be an entrepreneur because they don't understand how to be successful and have their future set up. You know, and a lot of people just think about like, oh, I'm going to owe the government all these taxes, or I got to go under the radar and do things on a under the radar sort of thing, and that's not the case.
So when you don't report the income, I'm going to tell you what it affects now. If you want to buy a home, unless you're cash heavy and you've saved up a lot of money, an underwriter is going to look at your gross income from your tax return.
You're not reporting anything.
If you made $100,000, but you're like, I'm not going to pay taxes on $100,000, and you reduce that down with all of your deductions to say $20,000, you're not going to get approved for a home.
You're not going to buy a house. You're not going to be able to buy a house.
Okay, so you have to be smart about this, and you can't wait until the end of the year to do it. Okay, January, you should hopefully have a mindset of what you think you're going to make for the year. What's your plan? Even if it's not for the year, what do you think you're going to make the next month? Okay, if you're self-employed and you think you're going to generate $20,000 for the month of January, then you have to prepare to either pay a portion of that toward taxes, or maybe you were expense heavy. Maybe you bought a whole bunch of supplies, some equipment at the beginning of the year, so that amount is reduced. But taxes for some people, for some of my clients, I make it a monthly payment for them. It's much easier to split it up amongst the whole year instead of waiting to the end of the year. You know, a $300 estimated tax payment versus a $30,000 payment that's due when you file your tax return is much different. The other thing that it allows you to do is that it allows you it prevents you from being hit with the estimated tax penalty, which says you didn't pay enough tax during the year. All right, but you cannot not show income and still say that you make it. People want a paper trail. Finance companies, banks, even schools for your FAFSA, if you have kids or yourself that are in school. Like, you want to make sure you have your tax returns done properly for what you're planning to do. So the first thing I ask, especially if someone hasn't filed in multiple years, is what are your plans the next 12 to 24 months? Because that's going to affect, you know, how we need to place these tax returns.
Yep. So here's a question. Can you talk about nail techs who are in a commission salon? So
now, if you're getting commission, you're still considered typically an independent contractor. So you're probably issued a 1099, and correct me if I'm wrong about that.
Yep, most commission places are 1099.
Right.
Which means,
so the 1099 miscellaneous, the 1099 NEC, which is the new form that's going to start being issued from this year forward, shows the total amount of non-employee compensation that you received in commission. All right, what you have to do then is, once that's issued to you for this year, for 2020, that's the amount of your gross receipts that's going to be reported on your tax return. Okay, what you have the ability to do then is to subtract out any expenses that you incurred to generate that income.
So what are some of the expenses? You have to supply all your tools yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What about the vehicle to get back and forth to work?
Right. You need to track mileage, and you may want to just set up a home office where you may have appointments scheduled, where you pay bills, because once you set up that home office, it becomes your destination for mileage, your initial destination for business mileage. So if you have a home office space, once you leave that home office and go to the nail salon, or maybe you're going to an event, wedding, whatever may be going on, those are considered business miles at that point and not commuting miles. So that's another reason that the home office is very important to properly set up.
Wait, what? I can go to a wedding, I can go to an event and say what now?
So let's say someone has contracted you out, you're going to be doing the nails for a wedding. You're just going to be leaving straight from home to the wedding venue to do the nails. Well, your mileage from your home office, which is your beginning point for the day, to that wedding venue can be tax deductible, because that's considered business mile. You're leaving one business location and you're going to another.
And you're a commission employee, so you receive a bulk of your income from that salon that is not removing taxes per se, but you need to have a home office as well that you can kind of have like as a division of your personal business, so you can help to offset
do administrative tasks.
Some of that.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. The other point is when you're commissioned too, if you receive a 1099 miscellaneous, and I'm speaking of years 2019 and before, because there's a new form that's going to be used this from 2020 moving forward. As a 1099 recipient with Box 7, which is non-employee compensation completed, you are considered a business owner. You don't have to formally have your name registered or an LLC or a corporation set up. Automatically, when you are
go ahead, keep talking, girl.
When you are issued that 1099 with non-employee compensation included, you automatically have been put into the same category that a multi-partner LLC that makes $1 million would be. You have the same opportunities, same deductions that you can take. Most people are just unaware that can be done.
Did y'all hear what she just said? Did you hear what she just said? She said, yes, boo, my first nail tech since we were 12. I've been doing her since we were in grammar school. Okay? Are you hearing? These are just little nuggets and tidbits. I'm going to put up her information in this video if you want to connect with her. Her name is, do you want me to, I don't know what name you want me to put out there.
You can put it under the Taxonista.
So she has a page. It's called the Taxonista. Here it is right here. You didn't know I had that up there, did you?
No, I didn't.
So the government, the IRS is just a government agency who should be handled by an experienced professional, the Taxonista, and that's her. And so this is who I trust, and she can help you. You don't need to be here in Georgia. She just actually got one of my relatives together. Call him up in what, 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, he's in Wisconsin.
Yeah, he is. Yep, he sure is. And she just called him up on a few years, and he's all set to go, right?
Yeah, he's good to go.
He paid you, right?
Yes, he did.
But I mean, like, she's worth it and she knows her stuff. But let me tell you the thing about her. She knows how far to push things without getting you audited. Because a lot of you all, can I just say 2 things real quick that get on my nerves? I cannot stand to hear people who make all these outlandish promises in terms of taxes and I can't stand to see these billboards that's stuck in the grass saying, we're going to get you $5,300. You need to stay away from people who make those type of promises.
Yeah.
Okay. Because those are people just filling in anything. They just learn how to fill out certain lines with the IRS, and they're not looking at your particular situation. They just learn how to do something, and you're signing your name. You're held responsible for that for years. And here it is, 3, 4, 5 years later, you're coming back, you're being audited. You can't even find this person. You get it? Because they just threw some stuff on there so you can give them $600 to do it or whatever. So that's one thing. Number 2, I can't stand, we were just talking about this, I can't stand for people to think that they need to be a LLC. Everybody and their mama got an LLC. People posting up on the internet, I'm an LLC, and they just think that they made it in life because they got an LLC. A LLC really doesn't mean anything, and it may not even be the proper structure for your business. It depends. But everybody just learn LLC and want to get out and get an LLC. You do not need to have an LLC to properly set yourself up. You can still run yourself as just a sole proprietor if you want to get started. And when you get things rolling and you feel more comfortable and your business is growing, then you sit down with a tax professional and they will analyze your business and figure out what the best tax structure is, because it's not always an LLC. It could be in most cases, it might be an S corp.
Well, yeah, just to kind of touch on that a little bit too, because people always ask now, the LLC isn't the hot word anymore. It's S corp. Everybody wants to be an S corp. So let me give you just some base understanding and definition of this, if you don't take anything else away. An LLC, which is a limited liability company, not corporation, it's a limited liability company. There's a C corporation, there's a partnership. You can have different things depending on what type of industry you're in. Some medical doctors, some practitioners have different types of entities. What you need to understand is that your legal entity that you register with the state is totally different from your tax. All right.
What? Wait, say it again, because you just told me something.
You can register with your state as an LLC. With whatever name that they approve you for. If you are the only owner in that particular LLC, then you would still be filing your business information on your individual tax return. Okay, you're still fully liable for everything on your individual tax return. Okay, but you also have the option as a single member LLC to be taxed as a corporation. You have to ask permission from the IRS to do so. What that allows you to do is you have a lot more leeway as far as deductions and how you pay yourself. You can generate a W-2 for yourself. You can come up with different healthcare plans, different retirement plans. There's a whole plethora of other things that you can do. But you have to know when you're ready to go to that point. And I'm a numbers person. Everyone doesn't have to be an LLC. If you're just starting out and you're grinding out and you're expense heavy, leave yourself at the sole proprietorship.
That's my point.
Okay, leave yourself there, because if you're expense heavy and you're trying to build your business, your expenses help to reduce the income that you're taxed on. And you're only having to file one tax return.
Did you hear that? Because that's one of the reasons why a lot of you all are not getting started with handling your business, because you feel like you have to have all these things in place.
Yeah.
And when you're starting out, it's okay to leave yourself as a sole proprietor and you fill that out. And is that the line when you put that Schedule C on there?
That's the Schedule C form.
The Schedule C is going under your social security number. Mm-hmm. You file your regular tax return, but you're showing this additional income as an entrepreneur.
Right, from your business.
From your business.
Yeah, and you can have a separate name, you can have a separate EIN, but because you're not being taxed as a corporation, you're still under your individual umbrella. So,
I'm not going to talk to everyone forever on this, but that's the takeaway on it. Yeah. And if you want to, I'm going to put her information in under this video, and you want to follow her page. It's the Taxinista. I'm going to click this button again. We're here in a hotel in Atlanta. So the Taxinista, She has a Facebook page, the Taxanista, newly started, only because now I think she's branching out. She's helping people on a more individual basis herself versus going under this other company as the fixer. But when I tell you this is the person you want on your team, this is the person you definitely want on your team. Um, she knows how far to take things without you being audited. Because you can get a person who could tell you what you want to hear. If you watch my channel, you know I don't tell people what they want to hear. I tell you what you need to hear, what you need to know. And this is why we vibe so well, because she will tell me. She puts me in place all the time. And she will tell me, like, all right now, you want to get audited, we can do this if you want to, but I'm just letting you know. And those are the people you want. So I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to end this video because we have to get some other videos going. But this is part one. So I'll come back with my personal thing for the nail techs and everything on other things you need to do with your mindset. We'll just talk a little bit about the financial part of it. Do not be afraid to file your taxes and show this income as a sole proprietor. A person who is a tax professional should know to put a Schedule C under your individual taxes to start claiming this income and getting used to claiming your business income. This is part of becoming a full-time entrepreneur. A lot of us stay in hustle mode because we're not putting our business on paper. We're afraid to, we don't know how to, and we don't have the right people in place to show us how to properly do so. You have the right person in place. It's not a hard thing to do. If you don't, even if you have to pay every year, the IRS, this is what you told me before. The IRS I'm still afraid of them, but
most people are.
They are, right? You don't have to be afraid of them. They come after you when you ignore them. They come after you when they're sending you letters and you're not responding. If you get on the phone and you talk with them, they will work with you. And as long as you're giving them something, they'll work with you, and then you're fine. You're fine. But we get in trouble when we're trying to buy houses and all of that, and we don't have anything on paper. We got to just make sure that we have our ducks lined up in a row. If you owe the IRS and you have to keep paying them monthly, you have to keep paying them monthly. It just becomes a bill like any other bill. But they won't bother you as long as you don't ignore them.
But I'll also help you come up with a plan so you don't have to pay the IRS. Okay, so you shouldn't have a continuous IRS debt. If that's the issue, then someone's not been helping you tax plan for how to alleviate that or how to move your money around so you're not taxed on it. I do want to make sure I emphasize, please start keeping better records. Even if it's just a simple notepad that you have of the money that you make on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, minus any expenses that you pay out for nail tech. Typically it's supplies. Mm-hmm. If you have to pay for licensing, training, any apps that you use, all that stuff is an expense to you. You want to start recording that because each month that's what adds up to flow into your tax return. That also helps you as a business owner or sole proprietor. It helps you determine where your money's going.
And it's like, I know that's intimidating for some people, but I'm not going to talk forever. I'm just going to say this. A simple way, and tell me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. This goes for licensed nail techs, and people get mad when you start talking about the licensed versus non-licensed. When you're purchasing nail supplies every year, and I don't know if you all are doing this, but you should be doing this. When you buy supplies from your nail supply stores, they have it in their system how much you're spending. At the end of the year, you can literally go in and say, I need my receipts for the year. And they will ask you for your license number, and they can pull up a report and print it out that register, the same register that the receipt comes out of, and they will tell you how much you've spent for the year. So that's one way to do it. I know I go to like 4 or 5 different supply stores. I can go to each one and say I need a year-end receipt. They will give that to me for the year. That tells you right there. So even if you haven't received each and every receipt, right, you still have that year-end receipt from each supply store. That's one thing. The other things are just kind of like, I don't know. That's why I tell people to use a booking system, because your booking system will tell you pretty much what you've done for the week, for the month, for the year.
But even if you don't want to get into a booking system or technology, a one subject notebook where you write out the calendar date, your clients, how much you charge them, and what you spend out for expenses. I've gone through audits with people with that and been fine. You just need to have a record. We can transfer you from, manually doing it into a system, but find some way that you're comfortable with keeping your records. You don't have to be ultra organized, but you have to have a system of where you know what money you're generating and what money is going out.
Here's the other thing that every piece of cash that I get, it's been a lot of comments. I'm sorry. Let me tell you something. Every piece of dollar that I get goes into my bank account. Everything I do, everything I generate is from the nail business, from Shecago Beauty Source. So anything over $30, that's another way to kind of. I'm reading.
On QT Social Club.
How do you file as a sole proprietor? And should I file taxes? Invested a lot of money in 2020 in nails, but I did not have any revenue because of the pandemic.
You still want to file your tax return with the expenses that were spent out for the year. What's going to happen is you can choose to either take the full loss for the current year, or you can do a net operating loss and move it forward to the following year, which would apply to any revenue you made for 2021.
What she said. I don't know what she said.
So don't be afraid, because the point is that the point is not that you didn't generate revenue. The point is that you were running the business. You generating revenue is just kind of a byproduct, especially of 2020 with the pandemic. That's going to be a lot of people's situation here. They were either starting up, or they had a business that they were having to pay out to keep it going, or invested with intention to make money, but they never did because of what happened. That's still a business expense for you, and you still want to record it in the year that you spent the money for it.
I'm telling you all, you need to get her to do your taxes. Do you recommend any systems? I don't use systems.
So basic, easy systems as far as bookkeeping would be the QuickBooks Self-Employed. There's also a system called Xero. These are just basic bookkeeping systems where you put in your revenue that you're making, and you also enter any expenses that you're accruing as well. What it does do is it helps to kind of give you an idea, on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, what you're making. Because most of the time, what happens is when you're self-employed and you haven't been keeping track of it, is sometimes people don't even realize how much money they've made. When we sit down and start adding everything up, they're like, there's no way I made that. But if you're generating the income and paying it out at the same time, it doesn't look like it is. But when we add it up together, it's a higher amount than you expected. The simplest reporting system you can do is, if you got a Gmail account, go ahead and open up a Google Sheets spreadsheet and start putting everything in there. That's the simplest thing I tell people. If you're not ready to jump into that formal system, or you're confused or not sure, pull up a simple spreadsheet and start listing everything out.
Just that simple. Do you have to have a business license to file business taxes?
No, you do not.
That's what we're saying.
Right. Business licenses are specific to your city, state, county.
That's more local.
And your industry. Yeah. So business license may be required for a nail tech, but as a tax professional, I may not have to get a business license, depending on the area. So you want to check with your local area, especially with home-based businesses now. A lot of local areas have started to want you to file a business license. It's not a requirement for business taxes. Remember, the IRS doesn't care if you're licensed, legal, illegal. They just want you to report it. But you want to make sure you stay in compliance with the area that you're staying in, so there are no fines or anything assessed to you. But you do not have to have a business license. Is not a requirement to file your taxes.
Right. And also, I want to say this, just for this video. The disclaimer is you cannot take this video as direct advice in your particular situation. This is just suggestions and our personal experiences as it relates to this subject matter. What you do is up to you. If you want further information, you would have to book a consultation with me or book or consult with her and hire her services directly, okay? Just what's the word?
Right, these are very
Disclaimer.
broad, very broad, definite advice I'm giving, but like I said, taxes are extremely individual. I
Yes.
could have 4 people making $100,000 and every tax bill be different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's very individual, based specifically on your situation.
But what I will say, even for you all who are not doing this full time right now, you can still claim this income under your regular taxes. Okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be all this stuff. And I think a lot of people are overthinking this right now. Start where you are. And your tax professional should be filing a Schedule C.
Yes.
And adding that onto your individual taxes and claiming that income as well. And your goal as a beauty professional should be to start to move that income where it's like, instead of you working this job part-time, that job part-time, plus your nails, over the years or over the next 2 years, it's like now you've slowly built this business. You've claimed, your business structure and all of that. Now
right.
you're doing a different type of tax, but don't let that stop you from doing it now. You can do it right now with your Social Security number without having an LLC. I'm an LLC, everybody. Everybody give me 100 likes on Facebook because I got an LLC that really be honest with you, everybody named mama got an LLC because it's easy to claim an LLC. You pay $125. You fill like a damn form online. Within 48 hours, they give you the LLC. That don't really mean anything. Like if you're making money on this, start claiming it now. And start having your strategy in place to moving things over to build that number. And then once you pick the correct legal structure for your business and it gets to that point, then you kind of switch over and you start claiming it in a different way. But that doesn't stop you now.
So to give you an example, I have 3 different types of businesses when I file my tax return.
I ain't surprised. Okay, go ahead.
I have one that's my single member LLC that's just on a Schedule C.
Okay.
On my individual tax return. I have a partnership that I have with 2 other young ladies that's filed differently.
When we gonna do our business together? Huh? That's okay. 2 years. And the
taxonista is gonna become an escort. So, and that's just based on the types of businesses and the revenue that's generated for each. So I chose the best option for each of those, and that's what you want to do. And that grew. All of them used to go on 3 different Schedule C's when I first started out. Wasn't making that much money at one point, but when I did, I kind of analyzed with my tax professional and accountant because I don't do my own. I know that's crazy.
Girl, let me do your tax. Let me do your taxes. I took your class.
I know that's crazy, but sometimes.
Oh, you don't trust me because I got a 72.
Sometimes you may want to go to somebody else to do your nails, or you may be a hairstylist, but somebody else may do your hair.
But let me do your taxes this year.
No,
I took
okay.
Your class.
Okay.
I got a 72.
But yes, right. My point is, you just want to have someone that you can, consult with, so you can understand which route's going to be the best route for you.
Okay. Well, what about those who were collecting unemployment but have started working?
This is the hot question this year. So let me tell you this. Unemployment compensation is taxable income.
Yes, and I have taxes coming.
People get confused that it's not taxable income. What I mean by that is when you file your tax return, let's say you worked part of the year, you had a job, you got a W-2. The pandemic hit, you applied for unemployment, you've been receiving unemployment, you're going to receive a 1099-G with the total unemployment that was dispersed to you. Mm-hmm. And let's say you also are a sole proprietor. You have your little nail tech business that you do. as well. All three of those pieces of information are going to be reported on your tax return, and you're going to be taxed on the total income from all of those. What's going to happen with some people with unemployment is it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to possibly increase the income that you made possibly from a prior year, or it may decrease. The most important thing to remember about unemployment is that it's taxable income, but it's considered unearned income, which means there are certain credits that you will not qualify for based on that unemployment income. Okay, so
It's
if you have
unearned income. It's unearned. And this is a very unique experience that we're dealing with right now with the pandemic, because people who generally, especially self-employed people, would not qualify for it, could qualify. The loophole within that was because you were affected by it. So you don't have to be totally unemployed, but you could be compromised because of the pandemic.
Right. So which was
a
plus, because a lot of times when people talk about gig workers or sole proprietors, they were left out of the unemployment system because that's just how it was defined. You only pay unemployment taxes and insurance on your employees, not your independent contractors. But with the pandemic unemployment amounts that were given out, the economy or the government recognized that there were a lot of people who were making a living off of, Uber Eats, the little side jobs or side things that they had going on. But you will have to pay taxes on that money.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you are collecting unemployment, you should have been checking, to be honest with you, should have been checking that box to have it removed.
Yeah, I always advise
15-16%, I think.
I always advise it's actually 20%.
Is it 20?
It's
See,
20.
I don't know. I got 72.
I actually advise people to have the taxes taken out because we can get it back for you, but it may put you in the red when you file. However, I completely understand. It was a pandemic going on.
Life was real.
I know, right? You needed every cent of any type of assistance. So I understand that perspective as well. But just remember that it is going to be taxable income that you're going to have to report on your tax return.
Do you help form businesses? I need to form an S corp for one of my businesses.
I sure do. Yes.
Yeah.
That's very important. And before we jump into the S corp, I do a numbers analysis with you to make sure that it's going to benefit you. You don't want to flip over to a new entity with greater requirements that's going to cost you more for record keeping and tax preparation if you're not getting a tax benefit from it.
See, everyone, that's what I said earlier. I'm so sick of everyone saying, I got an LLC. Yeah. Who told you to get an LLC? Did you talk to someone before you just went and got an LLC with that $125 that you had?
Right.
You need to talk to someone before you start forming legal business structures, because every case is different.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm not saying anything to you, but
just to make people aware, with an S corp, when you make the election with the IRS to become an S corp, a couple of things automatically kick in. You then have to pay yourself compensation. Okay? You're required to pay yourself compensation, but you're also able to distribute income. So you can kind of play around with, what you're paying yourself versus what you're distributing from the company profits.
What's the company you told me to get with? I got to finish setting that up.
Gusto. So I use Gusto for payroll.
Gusto is in the book.
Mm-hmm. Gusto is another system that if you are an S corp, they will help you get everything set up. I have a contract account with them, so I go through them directly to handle all payroll. But they're very good at ensuring everything is calculated properly. They generate your W-2, your 940, 941s that have to be submitted for payroll taxes, all of your end of the year reports, and kind of keep you on track. There's just more responsibility when you're talking about having an LLC, depending on the ownership and the monies that are generated, and an S corp. So I'm always thorough about people understanding that you're going to have a lot more responsibility with doing it. But hey, the bottom line is if it saves you money, that's what we're going to do.
See, it's a lot to this, but it's not.
Yeah.
It is, but it's not. It's not when you have the right person, okay, who knows the things that need to be done and how far to push things without putting you at risk. That's important, okay? So I'm going to put her information down below. I don't want to hold her because she still has a lot more recording to do. But like I said, oh, and this girl, she hates when I think she hates when I brag on her. When I tell you this girl knows her stuff, like she even works. She gonna get mad at me. She works with the celebrities and stuff here in Atlanta too. She works with TI's people and all of that. She knows her stuff. She also does corporate taxes. Okay, so she does it for large corporations as well. This is her life. She knows. When I tell you, I don't worry and I don't care where I'm living. She will always do my taxes. Okay, and when I'm here in Atlanta, we gotta hang out. We're going to Papa Do's after this because I'm gonna be pretty hungry after sipping.
We're gonna
wine.
be social distance, but yeah, we're gonna go get something.
We're getting some Papa Do's. It's right down the street. Wait, hold on. You need her contact information. I'm gonna list it.
Okay.
But her Facebook page is the Taxonista. When you mention LLC, it reminds me. Wait. It reminds me of when you mentioned designs, because that's what I said. Because everybody's so worried. All these nail techs are worried about designs. And I'm like, you know, I said, well, business to business to business to business. Because I know so many people that do great work and they refuse to deal with running the business.
Yeah.
And they just be a hustler for the rest of their life. There's so many areas to this. Have you set up taxes? She's here, and I've talked to my realtor, my mortgage person, and her. Because she knows I'm trying to buy property. I'm not even going to say a house right now because it has changed.
Right.
Property right now. I'm trying to build some big stuff. And it's just from doing nails. And if you set yourself up properly and do what you're supposed to do, then you can do anything anyone else is doing. But a lot of us want to make the cash, and just stuff it all in our pocket. But we have to be responsible as business owners. And sometimes you're going to have to pay out. Sometimes you will have to pay out and do certain things as an entrepreneur too to have that same luxury as everyone else of buying houses, cars, buildings, have that same wealth. So do you want to have day-to-day money in your pocket or do you want to have wealth? Because there is a big difference between having wealth and having some money. Because, money is like,
yeah,
it just goes.
I did a post last year on how Amazon paid no income taxes, and people had to fit how is that possible? Well, they use the system. They have multiple LLCs set up in multiple states. They take every deduction that's allowed to them. And remember, as a business owner, especially if you start having employees or other contractors, income tax is not only the only tax that you pay. If you're in a state where state income tax is required, that's required. Some states, California is like the mafia on business taxes. They tax you to death if you have a business. So it's more expensive to have a business. I'm scared to live in California. It's more expensive to have a business in Cali than it is, for instance, in Georgia. So when you think about being a business owner, you have to take into account all of those additional expenses that you're going to incur to just do business. You just want to minimize those. They're not going to go away, but you want to minimize the expenses that you have to pay out so you can maximize your net profit.
Lauren says she's right here in Atlanta, and when we're doing a meetup. Well, I'm looking at a hotel, and I'm trying to see what's going to happen with the pandemic because I want to do a weekend, at a hotel. I'm not a decent hotel right now, but a weekend where we have panelists, and she will be one of them. And to be honest with you, I would love for someone to kind of volunteer themselves so we could do a breakdown on camera to tell you, how would you set up their business structure? Right. What does it look like? What deductions you would claim? Literally do a live
so people can
taxes online and why, what they will, if they owed, what they will owe, and what the next steps will be and how simple it is because a lot of us are afraid. So trust me, I'm setting this up, but we're still, right now, what's happening with the pandemic to me is that the dust is thrown up in the air. It's up there. What's happening is it's starting to trickle down. Yeah. And we have to wait until after the election to see the dust really settle.
Yeah,
So,
we can wait to after the election, but I tell people all the time, I know it's been a crazy, crazy, unprecedented time,
mhm.
but this has literally been my best year that I've been in business.
Me too.
There are a lot of different, angles that it took, but I'm a glass half full person anyway.
Me too.
So even if things aren't going well, I look at the opportunity possibly that's still
The
there.
silver lining.
So I want you guys to do the same thing. Maybe people weren't able to come to you to, get their nails done, but I have a lot of beauty industry people that started teaching stuff. They started teaching classes, writing digital products. Like,
Yes.
they got into doing a lot of other things that they would have never thought of doing until the pandemic hit. So just always be, aware that if your business is not flowing like it typically does, especially when something is outside of your control, that's an opportunity. Don't look at it as a depressing moment. Look at it as an opportunity to figure out where you need to shift.
So Miles said, great job, ladies. I went to high school with Miles.
Okay.
Miles is an entrepreneur too. He has a trucking business. See, people don't think I'm watching him. I watch everything. Miles has a trucking business, and he's also a home renovator. You don't think I even know that, and I know that. And so he's an entrepreneur too. And during this time, this is what I'm trying to tell you. You never know what twists and turns life are going to take you through, right? Yeah. And so during this time, if you were set up properly and not just being a hustler, sliding up under the radar so much, there were opportunities for people who had things on paperwork. Yeah. I got a grant. I'm just going to tell you a little piece of the money I got through this time. There was a grant that I received, and I said this on a few videos. I was on the phone with a friend, and she casually mentioned to me the city of Shecago was giving out money to entrepreneurs, and it was $4,000. I forgot, but I think it was up to $4,000. And she said, "But it ends tonight." And I got off the phone with her ass. I said, "What you say? It ends tonight?" She was like, "Girl, yeah." So, blah blah blah. I said, "Okay, let me call you back." And I hung up the phone on her ass because it was 10:30 at night, and that thing expired at midnight. And I got that grant. I got $4,000. That's a little bit of the money. $4,000 just for being a business. But let me tell you something. They did respond back to me and say, "We need to see your what? We need to see your schedule
documentation.
We need to see your taxes."
Yeah.
See, if I wouldn't have filed and trying to be slick and filing all up under the radar and not showing any of my business income,
right,
I wouldn't have gotten that grant. But I was able to prove that I do have a business. Even as an entrepreneur, just filing under your social security number, that Schedule C income shows that you have a side. Am I wrong?
It's a paper trail.
It's a paper trail. I had the paper trail, and I was able to show the paper trail, and I was one of the people picked. And I mentioned this like twice. I was one of the people picked, and I received that $4,000 grant. That's a little tiny bit of the money that I received during the pandemic. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to tell you all. Stop being a damn hustler. If you say you want to do this, stop spending all your money on do-zoins, and buying all this damn glitter and all this high-end, expensive acrylic and all this type of stuff, because you all are hustling up under the radar. You are no different from the man that's standing on the corner selling mixtapes. Okay? Now, Dakara, she get quiet when I get like this because she know me. We like different. We like Oscar and Felix. You got to be old enough to know what I'm talking about. We Oscar and Felix, but we work. But she know what I'm saying is true. Stop being a hustler on the street corner, okay? Take what you do, take your passion, take your blessing from God, and don't be afraid to step it up and put that stuff on paper. Because during times like this, which no one saw coming, it has been a blessing to me as well, and leveled up my damn life, because I have been able to show that, no, this is income that I actually do have. Right. And I might owe a little bit or whatever because I hadn't been paying whatever. But I'm still able to purchase property. I'm still able to get grants and everything because I am recognized by the official authorities that I am a business. Don't think you have to have all this grandeur in place initially to get this. But during times like this has worked in my favor, and it's worked in a lot of other people's favor. Okay, so it's funny. I'm telling you. They reached back out to me. Actually, that's not the only thing. I've had to do it like 3 times.
Yeah.
where they're like, even the SBA reached out.
There's
They're like, we
opportunities.
need your taxes. We need your taxes.
Yeah, there's opportunities out there, but you want to have your ducks in a row.
You gotta have your ducks in a row.
Paper trail. Yeah.
See, she said ducks in a row, and I said stop being a damn hustler. See what I'm saying? We work, but we work. We say the same thing, but we work. Stop that. It's not as hard as you think. But if you want the freedom of being an entrepreneur, see, she's an entrepreneur too. If you want the freedom of being an entrepreneur, stop trying to, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You cannot be an entrepreneur and then say, I don't want to pay taxes, I want to make all the money, and I want to get all the benefits of being an entrepreneur. You have to go and pay, you have to go and file some type of way. Just make sure you have someone who knows what the hell they're doing, you know, along the way with you. You have to have a good partner. I'm going to put her information because, you know, people are going to want it. Do I report every expense on our tax report?
Somebody said something that they passed. Was it Lauren that said she passed the board?
She passed the last month.
Congratulations.
But, you know, oh, sorry.
And Lauren, if you incurred the expense, yes, you want to report it because it minimizes your income. However, if you are planning to do certain things like buy property, for instance, you may want to hold off on deducting those expenses in order to show more income so that you qualify for any finance. Yes, it is, Miles. People don't know what a P&L, balance sheet, all of that stuff is, and it's very important because if you've gotten true financing or had to go through a valuation of your business, it cannot be done without it. And those reports cannot be generated if you don't have proper record keeping to show what your revenues and expenses are.
This is a prime example of what I'm talking about. So when starting out, do I open as an LLC or sole proprietor? That's the only thing that people know. LLC or sole proprietor. It's like that's the only thing that people know when they hear. It's just a popular. I'm going to say this, and maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like LLC is just popular to say. You got to talk to a tax professional to figure out what's best for you, but you can start now.
Right. Yes. You can start without any formal anything, Susie, especially if it's just you. I tell people all the time if they're just starting out and they're really not sure about, like maybe they like doing something or they have a talent to do something. They're not quite sure if this is the way they want to go. Go ahead and just start doing it. You could find out maybe that it's something you don't want to do or you want to go a different way. But you don't have to have any formal setup to get started at all. You can just start.
The taxes that you are filing, and this is the easiest way to say it, the taxes that you are filing now, if you are with a real tax professional, just keep looking that way, Dakar, because I'm about to say something right here. No, look that way, look that way, look that way. A lot of these people y'all got doing y'all taxes just took a tax class. See, don't laugh because she know I'm right. A lot of these damn people y'all got doing y'all taxes took a little class at TurboTax or something over the weekend, and they just filing y'all taxes, and you all are getting a lot of money because you got a lot of damn kids. Okay? She know what I'm saying is right. They not real tax professionals. You need to get with a real tax professional when you start getting into this type of stuff. She know what I'm saying is right. A lot of people that's doing taxes out here, they just learn the bare damn minimum. Bare damn minimum. And when you start becoming an entrepreneur and you're trying to do big things with your life and become a multimillionaire, you need a person who knows the tax code in and out. This woman right here, she goes to conferences. This girl is logging into seminars. This is the fixer. This is the Olivia Pope. Because you are the Olivia Pope in the tax world. They call her, she's a fixer. She knows that stuff. And did she just say about 30 minutes ago, she would start telling you the lines and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what the hell she's talking about. She said line 22 gonna change in 2021. I'm like, I don't know what she's talking about.
The 1099 miscellaneous is a different
She knows stuff before it even happens. Yeah. Because this is what she does for a living. Be careful who you pick to be dealing with your taxes. because they'll get you some money this year because they learn how to fill out certain lines on a certain line that year. They don't really understand the code as a whole and as it works. And some people just know how to put certain numbers on a certain line. They don't even know why they're doing it.
Well, I want
I'm just saying.
Piggybacking off of that. Remember, when you file a tax return, it's your snapshot of a part of your financials for the year, and it's very important that that tax return tells the proper story for your income that year. And I emphasize this because people think it's just a bunch of forms and a bunch of lines. But it's a summary. It's a summary. It's a reason that you can e-file and you don't have to send, your documents in unless they ask for it. They only want certain forms. But if that return doesn't make sense, that's when people get audited or put in review.
Yep.
So you have to understand how those things flow together and that it makes sense. Like it may not
tell a story.
Yeah, it may not make sense that you just started off in a business and you're writing off $200,000 because you think you're going to get a refund. You're going to get audited if it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so just remember, it's a snapshot for 12 months, for typical 12 months if you're on an annual January through December tax year, and you want it to make sense. So if you have dependents, who are those dependents? That you properly qualify to claim those dependents, that you report all of your income. So what's going to happen this year is people are going to file their tax return and try not to file their unemployment. They're going to get put in review because
they are going to
when they process the return, they're going to see that there's unemployment on their system, but not on your tax return.
Unreported income.
Okay.
That you never pay taxes on.
So just remember, it's a snapshot in time of your particular, and I don't say your full financial situation because it's not your full, but it's based on the federal tax and state tax code for a particular 12-month period. You just want to make sure that it tells the true story of what happened for the year. And I think Susie was asking where she would report everything. That would be on a Schedule C.
Schedule C.
Okay,
you can do that on your regular taxes.
It's called a net profit or loss from business.
And you can do that on the taxes that you claim now.
So you would report your revenues under the gross receipts line at the top of the form, and then the expenses are itemized out in different categories.
I'm not trying to even buy anything until I have a separate account for easy tracking of the transactions. Why?
This is important. Okay, but this is also part of record keeping. For those of you who do have an LLC, this is almost a requirement that I make any of my clients do. If you are an LLC, you need to run like an LLC. Just because you registered the name with the state doesn't protect you from anything at all.
Two separate entities.
It doesn't protect you from anything at all if you're not running properly. If you set up an LLC under a different name than yours, but you're still running expenses and business through your individual name, if something goes wrong and somebody sues you, your personal liability goes out the window because all you did was register the LLC. You've got to run a business as a business.
That was key.
So a part of running a business as a business is you shouldn't be commingling funds. That's the purpose of having a separate checking account, separate business account, where you only transact business transactions versus your personal ones in your other account. You can get bitten in the butt real bad when you're commingling funds because the responsibility to prove everything is on you. And if you don't have good record keeping and substantiation of income and expenses made, a lot of things can either be denied or you can be overtaxed on income that you didn't really bring home.
And see, I'm going to tell you something. I may be a little different from a lot of people on this channel. Maybe I'm not. You can tell me she puts me in check, y'all. This is one of the few people I let put me in check. I'm a full-time nail tech, though. My whole business, everything in my bank account is nails. Anytime I have money coming to my account, it's Shecago Beauty Source. It's nail related. Any income, even if it comes in through me doing nails or from the business, it's like literally 98% of my income. I only make money doing nails and
but
nail
do you pay
stuff.
Personal bills out of the same account? Then you're commingling. So
I'm commingling.
She needs to, before she leaves here, we're going to make sure she has a separate account set up. And it's way easier than you think if you already have an account. Or I tell people this. A lot of people use Square and PayPal. Just make sure it's under your business name. Remember, you're trying to make a paper trail. It doesn't have to be at Bank of America or Wells Fargo, but it needs to be attached to your business and the transactions that you do for your business. So when someone asks you to substantiate what's going on, you can say, well, let me just pull out my Square account because these are all my clients that paid these invoices this year. Okay, so record keeping, it's the easiest thing to do, and it's the number one thing that people don't do that gets them in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, she just checked me, but
yeah,
I'm thinking about it though. Like all of my accounts, everything is Shecago, everything is Shecago, everything is Shecago.
So if you mess up my nail right now, and I say I'm gonna sue you, and if we get down to it, and somebody's like, well, what's your personal stuff versus your business stuff in this account? How are you gonna break that down?
That's scary. But let me tell you, I have insurance for that.
Yes, you have insurance, but your insurance can be denied if you read your details, see if they have something in there that says you shouldn't be commingling your funds.
Oh, I'm scared. You can have my vape.
Insurance only covers you when you follow the rules.
Y'all see what I'm saying?
All right, so
I know this.
Read the fine print.
Business. Okay, so when I'm starting, do I open as an LLC or sole proprietor?
Yeah, I answered her earlier. Just start out as a sole proprietor.
Sole proprietor. Get started now.
Right now.
As you grow, you sit down and figure out, what's that. Okay. Any advice for mobile tech pricing? Okay. That's a whole nother video. No, it is, because it just depends. And like I tell people, you gotta charge based on your time. And mobile pricing, time is like time. It's a timing thing. So
that's a good one that we can do, because you remember I used to undercharge for my services.
Well, you used to always get on me saying I was undercharged.
I know. I do it to other. I'm a great coach for other people. I'm bad about myself. That's why I have other people that help me get my stuff together.
Me too. Oh my God. Okay, we got to record some other videos for her channel and some other things. And we got to go eat some papados, because that's what I want to eat.
Well, this was cool. Like, she's been getting on me about going live and getting my social media and stuff together. So this was good. I like answering questions and helping people, because I like revealing things that people don't know that helps them. Because the majority of the time, we just don't know the information. We've never been told properly. So I like to make sure people are well informed so you can make decisions, because these decisions affect you in your pocket. And those are the type of decisions you want to make sure you're making, you're going in the right direction on.
Yep. And I'm going to end it here. But you can do anything you want to do in your life. You don't have to work for someone else. We're two entrepreneurs here. I'm a nail tech and she is a tax professional. We both work for ourselves. We both drive nice cars. We have our own place. We do what we want to do with our life. But the one thing that we do is we make sure our paperwork is in place enough to get and acquire everything else that everyone else has. Do not think you need a job to do that, okay? And so it's so many aspects and facets to this thing here. So this is just one little part, okay? And if you want to contact her to handle your taxes, since I met her, I don't trust a fool with nobody else when it comes to my taxes, okay? And like I said, she just did my cousin. He's in Milwaukee, and she just got him all the way caught up from some years back.
Yeah.
And he's fine now. He hasn't said anything. He's like, she's done, you know, whatever. And she, you know, I just can't say enough about her. And that's important. And just understanding what you need to do and handling your business, you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable in this lifetime. You are no far behind than the person who's been on their job for 20 years.
Yeah.
You can come in 2-3 years and be just where they are. As long as you handle your business from a brand perspective, a consistency perspective, and putting yourself on paperwork. Like I said, during this pandemic, a lot of us entrepreneurs who were on paperwork, we came up during this time. And I'm not going to go too deep into why, but because there were so many grants and loans available, because we were on paperwork to prove that we were affected by this business, we got more help than most, right? Mm-hmm. And there's another round coming. So that's all I will say. I will put her information below. We got to keep moving, but I will catch you all in the next video because this is just part 1 on how to prepare. I hope that doesn't stop me from monetizing. When we be back on live? I could always pull her in.
Yeah, we
camera,
can kind of connect. Yeah.
And I'll do something that's more specific. You know, maybe
we'll do something maybe later on this week. Maybe
it's up to you.
Yeah, because there may be some new things that are finalized.
Right.
Once we figure out if Georgia is going to turn Congress red or blue.
And I haven't even brought that up in this whole video, the whole PPP EIDL thing.
Yeah.
Which EIDL, we're going to say PPP thing. That's a whole nother, and that's one of the videos we have to record next.
Yeah.
So that's why we're going to move off of this one because we're going to talk more to that. And I just didn't go into that one. This one, what I'm trying to tell you all is nail techs as beauty professionals, stop being afraid to claim your income doing this. I don't care if you only made $15,000, $20,000 this year plus your job. Start claiming that income because you can write a lot of it off, especially when you're not making a lot of money. And as you grow, you'll start to gain confidence to become a full-time entrepreneur. Otherwise, you will be stuck in your head that you can't do this and you need to keep flying under the radar. And that's not the case. I do not work for anyone. And I have everything I want. And I travel. I'm in a hotel room right now. You can't see the beautiful view, but I'm in a nice hotel room now. I pay for everything. So just be a little nail tech doing this one. So, all right.
Get your numbers, get your records together. Remember, you can do as simple as Google Drive, spreadsheet, and start tracking everything. But just start tracking. You got to know your numbers. Besides taxes, you got to know your numbers so you can make sure you're making money.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'll catch you all, I guess, in the next video. Trust me, I'm coming on live. I've been doing a lot, and as you can see, I'm not even in Chicago right now. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Okay. Bye.